Oh, there you go. Yes! Hello and welcome. I am Lionmight, professional composer and music producer obsessed with video game music and nerd culture. And we're back for another Clair Obscur Expedition 33 video. Previously, we listened to Alicia's theme, and today we're going to check out Lumière. Let's go. Pizzicato. This is fun. I like the mixing of vibes. It's all pluck, pluck, pluck. Build up. Clair obscur, bordé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Clair obscur, trouble de nature, courbera effet. Clair obscur, bordé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Oh, clair. Great shift. Obscur, trouble, rature. Clair obscur, guardé aux peintures. Fugal. Clair obscur, trouble de rature, courbera effet. Clair obscur, guardé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Folk fugue? Anyone? Rature, courbera effet. Clair obscur, guardé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. This is an eclectic mix of musical genres. Oh, there you go. Cello solo and viola, I think. Viola and cello in my left and right speakers. Brilliant contrapuntal writing right here. Yes! Fierce! A bit of Les Miserables vibes, not gonna lie. Oh. Unresolved ending. I like that. There is obviously one classical piece. I'm hearing a lot of Gabriel Faurés Pavane. Definitely has inspirations from Pavane. It even starts pizzicato. And then there's a build up in the end. Yes, so it gets thicker and thicker. But I think Lumière changed it up a bit by, of course, adding vocals. Although there is also a vocal version of Gabriel Faurés Pavane. I think this starts in a similar direction. But of course, it finds its own way. But I think what I really like is the contrast of the short and long tones. Starting off with pizzicato. Even the vocal singing starts off as pizzicato, short, fun, interjecting tones. And then it has like multiple sections where it slows down. And then the climax becomes a fugue, like a contrapuntal multi-part fugue. Again, heavily classically inspired, which I am enjoying because that is my jam. I grew up loving classical music, so even to this day, anyone who is composing new music that takes ideas from the classical music, especially classical music that I love, props. You know, you see the similarities, but not really. Okay, so this is the one that I'm finding interesting because, again, like I said, it starts very classically coded, classical instrumentation, classical vocal style, operatic, light operatic vocal style with, like I said, Gabriel Fauré-inspired string section. But then you will hear a modern acoustic steel guitar. It's like a time traveler traveled to whatever era that classical music is still at its peak. But he time traveled with an acoustic guitar, found a band of musicians or found a small chamber orchestra playing in the streets, playing classical music for whatever reason, which can be true in somewhere like Vienna, decides to jam with his modern sounding acoustic guitar. It would be a standout, and probably the classical musicians in that time would find it weird or maybe offensive because that exact timbre of an acoustic guitar is not yet very common or probably not yet existing in that era. I find it interesting. It tickles my brain a little bit that, oh my God, they decided to mix two styles represented by instrumentation that is traditionally or in normal perception is usually used in different genres. Acoustic guitar, of course, acoustic folk pop or folk guitar music or country bluegrass music. That's usually where you hear that twangy steel guitar. But this, in a classical setting that is heavy with bowed strings, it is, I would say, in a traditional sense, a little bit daring. Even that is very folk rock or bluegrass coded. It very much is standing out in this formal classical setting. Definitely unique, but of course there are groups like one that I can think of is the California Guitar Trio, who are also breaking traditions by playing complicated classical music on modern guitars, which is, you know, it's being explored as we speak. This is funny. So the guitar, still on the acoustic guitar. He started off doing kind of like a modern acoustic folk rock kind of lead lines. And then here, listen to this part. He starts to do more formal classical counterpoint. No more of that slides. It's just like, oh, are we not doing pop music? Okay, we're doing classical. Okay, I'll shift to classical. It's just funny for this musical nerd. Dun, dun, dun. More notes, more rhythms, great build up, very subtle. See, the guitar is now doing very purely classical style of counterpoint. And now he's back to kind of folk rock because he's strumming. Dun, 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 dun. Again, not common in pure classical style of music, but definitely a Clair Obscur thing. Classical folk rock. Oh, definitely something that Beatles have experimented a lot. But I think this is like the opposite. The Beatles experimented with their brand of rock music with some classical music elements. I think this is the total opposite of that, the total inverse. This is classical music, but experimented upon with some rock elements. Very subtle ones. Oh. Don't you just love that contrast? Everything is plucky here. Pluck, 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 pluck. Tiny piercing notes. Piercing notes, but still pleasant to the ear, of course. Chun, chun, chun. Everything is like chun, 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 chun. And then suddenly... more long notes, more long notes, more legato, more interconnected and fluid. No more of that tak, tak, tak disconnected lines. And I think that's kind of underrated. That's one of the techniques you use in music to convey contrasting sections, you know? You're still hearing some pizzicato in there, the low notes of the cello. And the contrabass. Dun, 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 dun. And oh my God. Oh, let's rewind a bit. Dun, dun, long notes of the piano. And look at this. All the arpeggios in the piano. It's filling up the void. It's filling up the spaces in between, making it sound even more dynamic, but not in a distracting way, you mean? If you get what I'm saying? Bach, very Bach sounding. Now it's a melding of all the styles. Beautiful harmony on the duet. You hear that line in the piano, the higher piano. It's just so tastefully done. It's adding even more spice and sprinkle. That sounds yummy. Listen to the top piano. He's doing the melody, but he's adding some adding some in-between notes, and it's done in a fugal style, in a fugue, like a toccata in fugue, from Bach. And another contrast, but this time, this is where things are even more interesting to me, because now it's a total, very obvious meeting of two styles. This chord progression playing, that is like common trope of guitar chord progression playing, the style and even the timbre of the steel guitar. It's not something out of place in a John Mayer song. Any of those guitar song, singer-songwriter kind of singers, like Ed Sheeran, for example, you'll hear that chord progression, ding, ding, bang, ding, ding, ding. Even though that can be translated in the piano as well, it sounds very unique on its own as a guitar pattern, when played on the guitar, of course. But this is doing it in a classical environment. I'm not saying that Clair Obscur is the first one to ever do that kind of thing. No, of course not. But yeah, it's done here in a very tasteful way, and I'm just enjoying it so much. Dun, dun, dun. Viola and cello. Guitar, viola, cello. Wow. Yeah, I've written something like that for classical guitar, viola, and cello, but this is not far off. Oh, see, there, the viola and the cello, they're doing the melody of the chorus while the singer is singing something different. And that concept, that is called counterpoint in basic terms. You would also call it contrapuntal writing, you know, just something to describe counterpoint, in which there are independent lines of music, independent melodies, usually independent melodies. There's the melody of the singer, there's the melody of the viola and the cello, and even the arpeggio of the guitar. They're all doing their own kind of standalone thing. If you play them standalone, it will kind of work out as a musical idea. But if you combine them together and they still sound coherent and great, that is the strength of counterpoints. That is the strength of contrapuntal writing. Back in college, as part of my composition degree, counterpoint writing is a 2-semester course. There's basic counterpoint and then advanced counterpoint. And if I wanted to, I could have also enrolled in advanced counterpoint 3 and counterpoint 4, but that's not required by my course. So I just chose a different one, world music and Latin American music and something like that. But what I'm saying is counterpoint is one of the end games of musical composition, and you will hear this a lot in any composition of Bach, either in his toccata in fugue, his Brandenburg concertos, even in his violin duets, string quartets, or a lot of his keyboard and organ works. Yeah, Bach is synonymous to counterpoint. When you say counterpoint, you think of Bach, and he deserves it, man. The composers very much have a deeper sense of classical music writing. And it's very, very obvious already. And I'm just digging it, being a nerd over it. See? Independent lines. Viola doing its own thing, cello doing its own thing. Here we go. This is like the final march in Les Miserables when all the cast members are singing. And it helps that it's also written in French. So there you go. Clair Obscur, peinture trouvera sans elle. Clair Obscur, trouble de radio, courbera effet. Clair Obscur, peinture trouvera sans elle. Yeah, that is very menacing, very march-like, something like the entire army, the entire town. We are ready to go into battle. Call to action, very much. And this is like leftover energy. Another brilliant counterpoint. That's the viola, and then the guitar is and then the other strings are dun, dun, dun. 3 different parts, kind of independent of each other, kind of. And the piano, yeah, another example of counterpoint. And any composer who uses counterpoint, it's always kind of like, nowadays, I would say, in the perspective of normal listeners, I would say counterpoint or counterpoint writing is like a cheat code to make the music sound complex and engaging in an intelligent kind of way. But yeah, and after such a deep dive into the, I would say, the original version or probably the in-game version, Soundful Interactive, the devs of the game, also released this official music video version similar to what they did with Alicia, and I want to check it out now. Starts off very much the same. This is great. It's very much a 1:1 version. Unless there are surprises. There it is, our prodigal son, the guitar. I'm now just listening as an enjoyer. Oh yeah, she's good. She's very theatrical in her performance. My favorite arpeggios. Bounce, bounce, bounce.
Clair obscur, voir des hauts pins, tu trouveras sans elle. Clair obscur, trouble de gras, tu trouveras effet. Clair obscur, voir des hauts pins, tu trouveras sans elle.
I will jam with them later. This exact part. Brilliant musicians, definitely. It reminds me so much of college. This is what you'll hear every day. Brass instruments, wind instruments, and string instruments everywhere, doing their own thing. Shred it! Oh, there they are. So grand. I can already imagine the Game Awards having their own version of this. It should be epic. The musical performances are usually the one thing I look forward to in the Game Awards anyway. That even adds an extra dimension to it. They perform the exact same version as the in-game version, which is, still, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So pretty much a music video equivalent. Damn. Let me know if you want me to check out some more Clair Obscur music. And so far, Lumiere, this video, and previously we checked out Alicia, both top-notch compositions. Let me know in the comments, or please use the content suggestion form, because that is still the most efficient way to suggest content for me.